Welcome back, everyone. It's a Tier 7 game on Fire Sailing, and I'm in the British Tier 6 artillery, the FV304, commonly called the Mighty Bert, or Bert the Avenger, because of its ridiculously bizarre qualities as an SPG. As you can see, Bert is tiny. Bert is fast. Bert is actually pretty maneuverable for an artillery. It also has a really good refire rate, one of the fastest in the game, actually. Mine shoots about once every 11 seconds. It's also almost accurate artilleries in the game. It doesn't do a lot of damage when it hits. A good hit will do 400 damage. Unlike the M44, who just blind shotted our ARL as he crossed the choke point in P7. Poor guy. So, the nice thing about Bert, of course, is that he's also has one of the highest shell arcs in the game, which means you can shoot over cover in a lot of places. Not like that. That was not a very well aimed shot. But I'm shooting a fast-moving T-37, and hitting moving targets is not, well, any artillery especially, but in particular Bert's. He just doesn't have the traverse. You can see there I had the tank moved, and as a result, my reticle very wide. He prefers slow-moving or stationary targets like most artillery. Like this Churchill 7. Easy pickings. 149 damage is pretty typical of what Bert does to most tanks. Don't expect huge amounts of damage per shot. Instead, it's a harassing artillery. However, once something is tracked, suddenly he becomes a real problem for most tanks, because if you can just keep hitting them in the track, they can't move. In that case, I hit him in the turret, so he's going to be able to move away. And I decided to switch my aim to this T-34-5. Okay, about 100 damage. A little on the low side, but not horrifyingly bad. See if he's still there. Now I've spotted probably the most dangerous opponent, but even as I do so, I suddenly realize I'm in the water. The biggest problem with Bert is that he can't pivot. And so Bert kept, whenever I turned to aim, pivot, Bert would move, and I accidentally backed myself off of a cliff. Whoops. Good news is, it didn't hurt me that bad, and Bert is able to reverse back out of it here. And we're back in business. Now, C-25 is a high priority target. It's a Tier 7 TD, very small, very sneaky, very nasty gun. The T-20 HTC is almost his dead opposite. This is actually one of the reward tanks for special missions. He's also a tank that kind of needs to go. But it's so heavily armored, it's very difficult to damage from the front, and even the sides, because I'm thinly armored. Now, I'd much rather shoot up the C-25. He's actually a bigger threat. There we go. He's advantage, so we switch aim to the T-29. We have the T-25 come back. Okay. I'm going to stand up there and shoot. Ooh, that was a penetrating hit. 500 damage. May seem measly, but that T-25 is suddenly in a world of hurt. Unfortunately, he gets out of range just before I can pull the trigger again, so I go for the T-29. Track him on top of the ridge in the open where he is in real trouble. However, he just killed my last person who could really shoot at him, so I'll just have to finish it myself. Cool. T-20 HTC. Yep. Teak Destroyer, Tier 7, very dangerous, needs to die. Go away. Oh, dang it, he moved. It suddenly occurred to Bert the Avenger, he's the only thing left on this side of the field. Time to relocate. And luckily, because of the high speeds this tank can make, that's pretty easy to do. Alright, so my team, it looks like, has more or less managed to win the western side of the tracks. Unfortunately, the cap circle's on the eastern side of the tracks, and somebody's on it. So I'm going to move this way to try and get myself a good angle on shooting along the south side of the cap circle, because there is probably an enemy tank, possibly that light, that T-37, maybe one of Stu, sitting down there, trying to cap out. Meanwhile, just wondered why the AMX M445 had finally figured out that they are probably alone on the western flank. There's no enemies over there, and they're getting their advance. Now see, this T-37 is still hiding as if he thinks I'm still located north of him. But of course, now I'm located more to the west. So his hiding spot is not much of a hiding spot at all. There he is, holding still, thinking he's safe. Not so much. As he tries to run, the ELC shoots him in the side. He turns to try and engage the ELC. But luckily, my shell arrives first. Alright. Now I gotta try to get in a position to help deal with either that Stu that's down in J8 or try and put fire up on the hill itself, where there's a whole bunch of big dangerous tank destroyers. T-37 did not enjoy being blown up by an artillery. But all you can really do is laugh at the poor guy. Alright. Stug was somewhere down here, so I'm gonna pick a bush and shoot it, in hopes that he's hiding inside of it. Then by look and see if I hit him. Nope. More important things to do. There's the enemy E-25. He's going down there to try and engage our ELC. If the ELC can score a good hit, the E-25 is done, but if he misses, the E-25 will have plenty of time to kill him before he reloads. But he's vanished, so I'm going to start putting fire first into a bush where things might be hiding, and then the Stug is ready here, so I'm going to shoot at him. Facing the Churchill 7 coming his way. So I put a shell in, it hits, it doesn't kill him. Since I hit him, he might be tracked, so I have to do a follow-up shot in hopes that that will finish him off and clear the way for our 3 tanks. Still advancing down the way, but nope, he's not there anymore. So I have to go for something else. There's a Churchill 7 up here who's in range, or a Churchill 1, sorry. I'm so good at this. He's being engaged by the Yak Panther 2. Trap the Churchill 1 in place. The Yak Panther 2 finishes him off. Alright, E-25 versus ELC. And it looks like the ELC missed his shot, unfortunately. Yup, he did. So E-25 wins. Now I need to get a shot into him. Unfortunately, he's still moving, the little punk. I put a shot in just a little bit behind him. And that's when suddenly the HTC appears. Oop, do not want to be on this side of the tracks when the HTC is rushing you. So I back away. Start putting shots in. First one, yeah, I didn't bother to aim. I was hoping it would get him. But not looking too good. The Yak Panther 2, good as his gun is, he's having a hard time damaging the HTC from the front. I do manage to track the HTC, but it's too late. Yak Panther 2 is taken out. I appear to have a T-28 HTC coming my way. Not interested, thank you very much. Not going to fight that from the front. No, 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 no. So I run this way. I'm really hoping I can get a position down here where I can shoot that HTC while my allies spot. They have just killed the E-25. HTC is all that's left, but he's gotten a position where he can shoot at my 2 allies. And they're not spotting him. There goes one. Still haven't spotted him. Where could he be hiding? He's somewhere on the base. Oh, he just left the base. That means he's going to be showing up just over here sometime soon. And there he is. Someone shoots him, and it doesn't do any good. Okay, once again, it's an HTC. Don't want to engage it from the front, so I'm just going to run the F away. I have multiple advantages, actually, in this fight. I'm a lot faster. I'm a lot smaller. Going to run to the C25. Even in death, you frustrate me, E25. And, well, mostly that's it. I'm a lot faster and a lot more maneuverable. We're both fixed gun tanks. He, of course, has a ton of hit points compared to me, but he's very, very sluggish. So FV304's best chance is actually to get in close, try and be behind him, and just roll him to death. The hard part's getting there, because I'm not likely to see him first. I've already decided what I need to do at this point. I need to get into the cap circle at a high rate of speed as possible, so that I can get as close to him as possible, as fast as possible. So FV304, Bert the Avenger, is going to do what Bert the Avenger is known for doing. He's going in TD mode. First, try a little covert spotting, see if we can spot him. I ain't expecting to see anything, but you never know. I'm really hoping that since he last took fire from me when I was to the west, that he thinks I'm still out there. He's facing west, and I'll attack here from the east. Well, no time like the present. Bert gathers speed and moves in for the win. He has some warning now that I'm in the circle, but not enough to change things. He's turning to meet me. Boom. Track him. Good thing too, because if I had ran him at that speed, Bert would have died. Now, I'm behind him, and he's in trouble. Whoops. And I didn't track him like I wanted. Well, good news. Bert's very, very fast. Look at this. Yep. He cannot actually turn faster than I get behind him. He's heavy enough though that I can't turn while I'm in contact with him. That shot tracks him and seals his fate, because now I can just freely maneuver, get directly behind him, take aim. He repairs, but it's not going to matter. Bert the Avenger for the win. Let's take a look at the post-game stats for that one. Much to my delight, when I make it back to the garage, what pops up is that was also my completion for SPG-15 for, ironically enough, the T28 HTC. Not quite enough to actually get the vehicle yet, but it's another step closer. Mastery Badge and Defender are my two critical medals. You can see hit a fair number of targets during this battle. Check it out. Bert tops the list. The HTC gets heroic resistance because, well, he did do a ton of damage. He actually did more damage than Bert did, which earns him the high caliber, and with it, full experience, despite the fact that in the end he was mercilessly trolled to death by the mighty Bert. Can't really say too much about either of the teams. There were some very notable plays. The M44 accidentally killed an ally, but still did 2,260 damage to the enemy. I mean, these things happen. As you wondered why, had a good battle, 1,700 damage. Yag Panther, great battle, 2,400 damage. 325, as expected, just was wrecking stuff with 1,500 damage. T29, only 1,000 damage, is pretty good, but it's a T29. You really should be more dominant in that ridiculous vehicle. But he was, after all, pinned down by the mighty Bert. I was very surprised here on the last screen to see that I'd done 450 points of allied damage. I have no idea when this happened. I've actually watched the replay looking for when I did this damage, and I just can't find it. I don't know when or how or who even I hit for 450 damage. So, yeah, I don't know. My best guess is that maybe I fired a shot when I was falling and it landed somewhere completely random. But that happened to be on top of an ally. Yeah. But in the end, can't really take away the fact that this was a glorious game for Bert the Avenger. And hey, it got me SPG 15. I hope you all enjoyed watching this. Good game and good night.